Well, thank you all for coming out. We're gathered to celebrate today the fact that San Antonio's own utility, CPS Energy, is set to shut down its oldest and dirtiest coal plant on New Year's Eve, we're told. The agreement first made in 2011 followed intense community pressure and coalition pressure. It wasn't just one organization or even paid organizers, but it was a lot of volunteer work and it was a lot of community heart. But the shutdown can't come fast enough. We can't take back the thousands of childhood asthma cases. We can't take back the premature deaths or the coal-connected heart attacks that have inflicted during the years that we've been waiting. There's no recalling the tens of millions of tons of global warming gases that have been emitted between then and now. But what's not to celebrate in the closure of a beast like this, the largest emitter in the San Antonio region of brain poisoning lead and mercury, what's not to dance to? Shuttering 40-year-old dirty Deely is not just good in of itself, but Deely's demise also signals the impending end of the coal age in San Antonio. To put the brakes on dangerous climate change and give the planet a chance to heal herself, CPS must put our remaining coal units, Spruce 1 and 2, on the same path. Climate Action SA, dozens of community groups are here to make sure that they do just that. And I want to introduce some Climate Action members to make statements. Then during the event, we'll be hearing from some of those that we came to honor today, community leaders who made sure that Deely was a done deal. First up is my friend Briauna Lopez, the director of the Southwest Workers Union, are now celebrating their 30th year, right? For that? Okay. She's a tremendous champion of community power and climate justice, and I invite her, grateful if she can say some words with us.
Thank you, Greg. One of the first times that I got introduced to coal, and this work was back in 2006, where there were dozens of coal power plants proposed for Texas, and that was the first instance of community power coming together in Austin, as in San Antonio, fighting against what we call dirty energy. And during that point, since then, almost a decade later, we see that there's been an immense transformation in San Antonio in terms of like where energy comes from. There's weatherization programs, there's solar panels, there's wind energy, and you see that not only at a city scale, but also at the community level. And so that's community power, to be able to come together with various strategies, various areas of work, and kind of pushing towards a cleaner, better future for San Antonio. And like Greg was saying, this work comes along a long line. Almost years and years ago, we were faced also with nuclear energy. So that's another one of our big victories of community coming together and fighting against dirty energy and proving that our work is more important and more powerful when we come together. And we include, and we talk about environmental justice. We talk about the whole line of that work. We talk about not only the plants and where they're located, but also where that comes from, where the materials comes from, who is affected by this work. And that's also as important as shutting down any type of coal plant, but also what's the solution? What do we call a real solution to our work, and how do we minimize the effects of climate change? As we speak right now, the United Nations is also having conversations in Poland, and so as we are in San Antonio talking about fall solutions and clean energy, they're all the way across the world. Some of our comrades and people on the front lines are also are also having this same conversation with legislators and the United Nations groups. And so we're here in solidarity with everybody here, the dozens of organizations coming together to celebrate this victory, but also continuing the fight and in a different way, right? Because it's transformative, and we want to ensure that transformation into new technology is also very just and doesn't further contaminate or pollute our communities. And so I want to give everybody a big thanks, and thank you to the organizers who were putting this together and worked hard to make sure that this is happening. Thank you.
Yeah. We're going to have Matt Sue next from Ignition Green, correct? I'm not sure if that mic is working still, but you've got, yeah. All right, everybody use it.
Hi guys, just some background. I'm Matthew. I'm here on behalf of Ignition Green, which is a a youth nonprofit for climate change awareness founded here in San Antonio. So today we're here to celebrate the closing of Deely coal plants, one of the 2 remaining coal-fired power plants in San Antonio. On behalf of young people across the city, I'd like to thank all of the community leaders and activists, such as Karen Haddon, Smitty Smith, Enrique Valdivia, T.C. Calver, Russell Seal, Karen Seal, Loretta Von Capanel, Graciela Sanchez, and many more, for helping accomplish this milestone in San Antonio's long journey of climate change adaptation, mitigation, and sustainable development. However, this journey is not over. Climate change's threat to San Antonio and to the world is still the greatest existential threat humanity has ever faced, and we still have a long way to go before we reduce greenhouse emissions to a sustainable level. And with ever-growing energy demands, a growing population, and a national administration stubbornly indifferent to this crisis, the stakes are higher than ever for us to take clear, decisive, effective action towards a sustainable future. However, there are the doubters, those who will say that such a change is impossible, those who find excuses to avoid change, saying that it will hurt the economy, or that the climate movement is a political scheme. Those who say that the short-term benefits of continued fossil fuel use will outweigh the long-term global consequences, or that there are more important issues at hand than protecting our Earth. To them, I say, tell that to the people fighting the wildfires in California and the families who have lost their homes because of these disasters. Tell that to Nelleli Kobo, the 17-year-old I met in Los Angeles who developed asthma, nosebleeds, and heart palpitations from growing up next to an oil refinery, who had to sleep sitting upright to keep from choking on her own blood. Tell that to my aunt in Beijing, who cried the first time she saw a blue sky and has to help my cousin put on her face mask every morning before school. I dare the doubters to face the millions of people affected by climate change and air pollution, and tell them that this crisis isn't the single greatest challenge facing the world today. Because the doubters are wrong, and for the sake of this world, climate change must be stopped at all costs. At its core, the climate movement is about protecting the health and safety of future generations. When we work for sustainable development and carbon reductions and alternative energy systems, we are fighting so that our posterity can live in a cleaner, safer world. We, the youth, urge you to continue using your voice, your choices, and your vote to fight for this goal. We have entrusted you with our lives, our safety, and our future. Don't let us down. Thank you very much.
Sofia?
We don't need it. My name is Sofia with the Texas Organizing Project as a healthcare organizer, and I'm also the chair of Revolution San Antonio. I want to thank the organizers for putting this together and everybody who alongside fought together in order to make this happen. We are here to celebrate and rejoice on the closing of the Deely plant that for years has harmed the community in the south side of San Antonio, but we must stay awake and vigilant over the spruce plant, which causes more harm to our communities. This is not just an environmental issue. Not only is our air polluted and our water and land, these pollutants also damage our health. From lung, heart, and skin diseases, cancer, allergies, asthma, diabetes have been on the rise in the community. Lack of access to healthy food, paired with economic stress and racist environmental laws that allows plants like spruce and Deely to operate on the south side of the city, creates an unhealthy environment. Add this to the lack of accessibility and affordability to healthcare within our brown community, it is a recipe for disaster. Per studies released in the Express News, majority of uninsured in San Antonio are people of color. The same people who are forced out to live in the most polluted areas of our city because it is the place that they were either born into or the only place that they can afford to live in. They watch their children as they play in the scorching sun in the middle of summer. breathing harsh chemicals while battling asthma, an illness that more than likely were born with because of the zip code that they reside. It is true to say that the zip code you were born into decides the life you are going to live. Poor health, economically stagnant lives, higher pollution, less access to health care. As we fight for environmental justice, we cannot forget that within that justice, we must also fight for healthcare justice. We cannot force our community to live in harmful places while denying them access to healthcare based on the size of their pockets. It is morally wrong and tremendously elitist to think that we can force our community to pull themselves up from their own bootstraps when we as a society have denied them their ability to be able to buy themselves boots. It is morally wrong to think that healthcare has nothing to do with environment when we know based on peer research the damages that these plants cause to our health. So as we keep on fighting to close the spruce plants for the net zero carbon in the next 10 years, we must also push and fight with the same effort and courage for a Medicare for all system that will ensure our people have access to proper care without the fear of going bankrupt. Thank you.
Our last speaker, I'd like to invite Briauna Barrera from Public Citizen to say a few words.
Thanks, Greg. Gonna try to block out that sun a little bit. So my name is Briauna Barrera. I am a climate justice organizer with Public Citizen, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of Public Citizen and also Climate Action SA Coalition, but more so I'm here to speak on behalf of young people all over this city. San Antonio is a young city. We go to school here, we work here, we hope and struggle and dream and fear in this city. I have not met one young person who doesn't fear for their future. A fear that is beyond, will I get this job, or will things work out with my partner and I, or how am I going to get through finals? This fear is profoundly existential, and it is rooted in climate change. It is a fear that asks, how will I protect myself and my loved ones from extreme weather? How will I prevent my home from being flooded? How do I move through a city that is more and more gridlocked? How do I know if it will ever be an ethical choice for me to have children of my own? How do I survive in the world to come when I do not know what this world will look like? Young people should not have to beg for our future, but this is our lot. And this is what we do from the local government to the Supreme Court to the streets all over the world. We are fighting for our right to have a livable planet. The history of humanity is one of uncertainty, but we are living in unprecedented uncertainty. I ask myself every single day whether or not humanity will survive climate change, and I see the reports and the news articles detailing the deaths of people from climate catastrophe, and I know that countless numbers of people already have not. Here's the thing. You can't compromise with climate change. You can't compromise with ocean acidification and rising sea levels. You can't compromise with droughts and fires and superstorms. You can't compromise with a global mass extinction event that we are currently going through. To argue otherwise is climate denial. CPS Energy is shutting down the JT Deely power plant on December 31st. This means that 4.2 million metric tons of emissions, including carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, will no longer be spewing into the atmosphere to pollute our air, our land, our water, and our bodies. However, San Antonio's other coal-fired power plant, JK Spruce, has no shutdown date in sight. Spruce discharged almost 6 million metric tons of climate-disrupting and poisonous emissions in 2017, and that number is only set to rise. Not to mention CPS Energy's natural gas-fired power plants that are scheduled to run for decades longer. The battle to close Deely has been won, but the war for a fossil fuel-free future continues. The city of San Antonio is leading an effort to create a climate plan, but a truly effective climate plan means shutting down all of our coal plants and all of our natural gas infrastructure and rapidly transitioning to renewable energy. It means shifting priorities from those of endless growth to those of stability and sustainability, and it means redistributing resources. It means reimagining and recreating the system that controls and influences human societies. In San Antonio, a truly effective climate plan means shutting down all the coal plants by 2025. It means transitioning to 100% carbon-free electricity generation by 2030. And it means ensuring that San Antonio achieves net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2040. This is what science tells us is necessary to avoid catastrophic climate change. Fossil fuels are at the foundation of our existential threat from climate change. Fossil fuels gave rise to the Industrial Revolution. They built our modern cities. They have been the basis for endless wars and occupations. They have shaped our economic systems and social values, and they have concentrated wealth and power to such degrees never before seen in human history. The fossil fuel industry must be dismantled, and that means that the city of San Antonio and CPS Energy need to step up and commit to these actions instead of dragging their feet until it's too late for us, the people who must bear the burden of their decisions. It also means that we, the people, la gente, need to continuously light the fire under the feet of politicians, executives, policymakers, the city and CPS staff to make the right choices, to enact the necessary policy, and to always put people and planet before profit. It's thanks to the incredible efforts of activists and everyday people in the community that the Deely power plant is finally being shut down. We owe everyone who has contributed to this effort over the years a debt of gratitude. We will continue working together to build on that great work to achieve a clean and healthy future for our community and around the world. A rapid and just transition to renewable energy is necessary because young people deserve full and lived lives, because we must protect and defend all life across our miraculous and only Earth, and because it is only through decisive and transformative action that humanity will survive to see the next century. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I think we have one more little bit.
Welcome to our celebration.
Yeah.
Join the dance if you care to.
no.